and move on. I think we're in the final 4 teams now.
We play
Is that
Texas
correct?
today.
Texas today or tonight?
Sometime sometime today or
Because
tonight.
we were playing late last night.
Yeah, I would probably tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other 2 teams are playing.
I got you. So
correct.
tennis, golf made a run, right? UF Golf made a run here, and they've made the finals, I think. Talk about it, guys. Right, Shane?
Yeah, they play sometime next week. I think a week from now. They came from behind. Men's golf team. I don't know how many teams go play for the national title, but they are one of them.
Yeah, so they'll go in about a week out to Arizona somewhere, we think, Coach?
I think so. It's going to be in Scottsdale, the national
Yeah.
championship, and Coach J.C. Deacon. That it's a sport. It's how you play it late in the year because you win your tournament, conference tournaments, and qualify and move on. So they're playing well now, and that's the way to do it.
If you've got any questions, comments, thoughts you want to send our way, feel free to jump on the Facebook Live comment section. We'll try and follow your comments as we go today on a Friday edition, College Sports Today. Obviously, SEC/baseball is winding down the regular season. The big tournaments, conference tournaments, are next week. Softball, the tournaments now in the Power 5 are going on. Matter of fact, they'll kick off the tournament here, the regional tournament here in Gainesville in a few hours. We got all that. Shane, you probably noticed, and I think you talked on your show, I'm kidding around a little bit, 99 days, I count it down before we play real college football. This week, some of the bigger games have got kickoff times assigned to them. Did you notice some of that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest early games that I can't wait to watch that I think is going to have national championship implication is Georgia Clemson. Week 1, I think in Charlotte. That's going to be a fun game. I think Alabama plays at 3:30. I think that game's the night game.
Yeah.
Alabama's playing
Miami.
in the Georgia Dome or whatever they call it now.
Yes.
So,
Matter of fact, the first real big official full Saturday, right? The full Saturday is Saturday, September 4th. That's that Labor Day weekend. And ABC's got a nice little doubleheader on that day. It's now been set. Alabama, Miami, neutral site, 3:30 ABC. So that'll be the late afternoon game. Alabama, Miami, ABC. And then they'll do a doubleheader that night, 7:30, Clemson and Georgia. So a nice start right there. That's Saturday, September 4th. Two big games are set, 3:30, 7:30 ABC. The next day, one game, but a pretty good game. A pretty interesting game. Notre Dame is at Florida State Sunday now, September 5th. Night game, 7:30. That game's intriguing. What's Notre Dame got? Mike Norvell, year 2. Will FSU look more functional, guys? Intriguing game, I think, that Sunday night.
Yeah, I think it could be because FSU, Mackenzie Milton, their quarterback, he may be a kid that brings some spark and leadership and all that kind of stuff to the team, which obviously they need at FSU. So time will tell, but he could be a difference maker. So
that game do much for you, Shane? Notre Dame?
I mean,
FSU?
I enjoy watching no matter who plays.
Absolutely.
But I think it will be should be an interesting game because I think Notre Dame lost a lot of players off last year's team.
And the quarterback.
So we'll see.
Yeah. So that is a 7:30 game. Getting back to that Saturday, though, Alabama, Miami, 3:30. Alabama's most likely going to win that game. I think the intrigue, new quarterback. The intrigue, I think, for me and most of college football watching Alabama, Miami, is Miami going to represent? Miami doesn't. I mean, it's easy for Bama. Bama beats people bad sometimes, but Miami doesn't need to open up the season a 50-3 loss. Can Miami represent? What's Miami going to look like? It's going to be intriguing to me, at least.
I think it's going to be a ball game
simply
because of the quarterbacks. The Endrick King,
Eric King,
and Bama's got a new quarterback playing, so the kid's highly rated and all that kind of stuff. But it'll be his first game, and the King kid down at Miami has played a whole bunch.
A lot of ball.
So if the quarterback is as important in college as they are in pro football, then that should be a heck of a game.
Yeah, Bama's going to win the game most likely, Shane. But if that game, the final gun goes off, 0-0s, and Alabama 35, Miami 17. The Canes have hung around. They hadn't got run out of the gym. That's what Miami needs. Obviously, they need a win, but they're probably not going to beat Alabama. But they don't need to get humiliated right out of the gate.
Well, that's true, and it could happen, but you never know. I think Coach, with Eric King, he's coming off that ACL injury too.
Yeah.
So, is he going to be 100%? He's probably not going to be the same player, but he could cause some problems. And I think, I think this Alabama team, with Bryce Young at quarterback, Do they rely more on their running game with a guy who doesn't have much experience, or do they stick with him in the shotgun, let him run around and make plays?
Now, Terry, you don't think Coach Diaz is going to tell his guys, let's just hang around with them. Don't get embarrassed. They got to try to win.
I got you.
Hey, it's possible.
I got you.
You think, you think South Carolina beat Alabama when they were #1?
You told them just hang around?
I told the guys, let's just try to hang with them. Don't get embarrassed and get out of here.
Feel good. Well, everybody gets a trophy, Coach.
You got to give you guys a chance to win. So Miami's got to go up there thinking we have a chance if we play extremely well and give it our best shot and get a play or two here and there. We can beat these guys. You got to believe you have a chance to.
I can't wait for that. That's a nice little back-to-back. You know, again, Alabama, Miami. It's set now 3:30. Clemson, Georgia, 7:30. That game, real quick, guys. Clemson, Georgia, big games. The first big national game, I guess. Two highly ranked teams. Georgia needs to win, but Georgia's got enough big games left on their schedule, probably, to weasel their way back up. Does Clemson? I mean, if Clemson was to lose that game, playing in the ACC, do they have enough marquee games if they need to work their way back up, Shane? I mean,
probably,
who else do they have to knock off to go?
Well, I would think. I still think if Clemson were to lose that game, they still have an opportunity to get in the 14 playoff because they had a loss last year and got in.
Sure.
So all they got to do is just run the table and win the ACC. Depending on what else happens throughout the country, they'll still have a chance.
Yeah, one loss does not knock you out, as we know, if it's early. And so if Clemson loses that, they could beat all the ACC teams.
Definitely. Yeah. But I'm excited. When I start seeing kickoff times, that excites me. I can see my Saturday now on September 4th, those two back-to-back. And don't forget now, those are the big games on that first big Saturday, and we know the times, 3:30 and 7:30. Bama, Miami, Clemson, Georgia. That same day, times haven't been set, but there are some other games. LSU traveling all the way to L.A. to take on UCLA that same day. I can't wait to see that game. Penn State, Wisconsin, Big Ten game right out of the gate that same Saturday. You've got Boise State, UCF. I'll watch that game, depending on where they put it. And BYU, Arizona. But LSU, UCLA that same day. That time hadn't been set. And it's a West Coast game, so I don't know if it'll be a late night. That game intrigues the hell out of me.
Well, I'm hoping for the players' sake that, the Pac-12 last year went to we need more national exposure. Let's play the noon game, which is 9 a.m. Their time. That means you're eating your pregame meal at 5 a.m.
Wasn't that nuts?
That's awful.
Wasn't that nuts?
Coach?
Yeah, I wouldn't like that if I was on the West Coast. Football's just not supposed to be played at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's why I sort of wonder why these coaches like to practice at 7:38 in the morning. And I've heard one guy say if we start scheduling games at 7:38, then I'll start practicing then. But to me, you sort of practice when you play, 3 or 4 o'clock, and then practice at night some. We always went out Monday night all through the season, Terry, to get under the lights because we played night games through the year too.
Sure. No doubt about it. Got a couple questions to bounce around, Coach. We'll have you the first half hour. Ted, just wanted to get your take on it's now official, the signing of Tim Tebow, and he's been on the practice field. Coach, you were wondering why the signing was taking so long. He's inked the deal now.
Yeah, and I heard Urban say we wanted to make dang sure that this was what was best for our organization, for our team, and so forth. And I said it 3 months ago. I looked for Tim Tebow to come in there and play tight end for Jacksonville. This guy's a winner. I think they won the state high school championship, won 2 nationals, 2 SECs here at Florida. So there's no question, this guy, effort and leadership and all that, you're going to get the best you got out of this guy. I look for him to go in there and maybe beat out some of these tight ends. And for some of these national media boys to say, the guys on the team are not looking forward to having him. That's a bunch of crap. I really believe that. How can you be on a 1-15 team and say anything about what we need? I would think every Jacksonville Jaguar would be happy that this guy's coming to help our team be successful and try to become a winner. And that's the only reason they signed him. It's nothing about he's a good friend of Coach Urban and all this, that, and the other. He will earn his way, or else he won't be there. Simple as that.
Shane, I want you to address that. But, Coach, I'll go back to your comments. I love the candidness. I totally disagree with. I don't think he's going to make the team. I love Tim.
He didn't say he was going to make the team. He did not make the team.
I think he'll make the team because I think the effort and everything that he plays with will Well, learn him a spark. I mean, it's not hard to teach blocking.
Yeah.
Blocking is effort, and being a natural athlete. And gosh, effort-wise, he's going to do all that. So we'll see. We'll see if he can catch the ball and run routes and all that.
I love me some Tim Tebow. I'm rooting for him. I think it's a long shot. And Shane, before I throw it to you, I do want to get this out. I don't think Tim Tebow will make this. This will work out. It's just my opinion. I'm rooting for him. I like him. I like his family. I will say this, though. There's a prevailing thought now around the country, and I don't agree with this either. If anybody thinks Tebow won't make it, they're automatically a hater. I don't think Tebow's going to make it. I'm not a hater. Now people think you're a hater if you don't think he's going to make it. What's your stance, Shane? I don't know if you were in the last time we brought this up. Your stance on the whole Tebow Jaguar thing.
I think he makes it only if Urban and the staff and everybody that makes the decisions thinks he can help them win football games. If he can't help them win football games, he won't make it because, coaches, you only dress 45 on Sunday, and everybody really has to have their role if their number's called to help the team. So if he's good enough to make the team, they will keep him. I don't think this is a let's keep Tebow because he's from Jacksonville. Now, I would have thought that 5 or 6 – they probably should have done this 5 or 6 years ago if they wanted to sell tickets. He ain't selling any tickets.
No.
Trevor Lawrence is selling tickets.
Urban Meyer's
selling tickets. So I think if he's good enough to make the team, he will make the team. If they don't think he can help the team win, then they will release him.
Yeah, but Tim Tebow is the most celebrated athlete to come out of Jacksonville since who?
Bob Hayes. Maybe Bob Hayes, and that was in the 60s.
Maybe Bob Hayes, the fastest man
in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that was the 60s.
But I think he's selling a few tickets right now.
He'll sell a few.
Well, the problem is the people that buy the tickets because of Tebow and they cut him, they're going to be upset if they bought the tickets.
I'll tell you, I don't know if they got enough tickets to sell. I think they're sold out because of Meyer and Lawrence. The tickets, I think, will take care of themselves at least that year. But I'll tell you one thing, 26 whatever years it has been since that franchise has been over there, last 2-3 months, they've got more international press than they have in 26 years.
That's right.
Between Lawrence and Meyer and Tebow, for whatever all that's worth, and they say no publicity is bad publicity. It'd be fun to track.
The running back ETN,
him.
he's special too now. Don't forget about him. A lot of people thought he's the best running back in the country the past couple of years.
Yeah, I agree.
So look for him to be a big influence. And I know they got a good running back also, that young guy from last year.
Yeah, Robinson.
Having two is pretty neat.
Do you guys think? After watching Tebow, knowing what type, I know he's a great athlete and he does good things, but there's some things he's limited. Can he get off the line? Can he get open? I watched Tebow in the outfield and he plods around. He's not a quick twitch guy. There's going to be a guy covering him that I don't know if he can get away from and get separation, and that guy covering him is going to be just as big, just as fast, and maybe 6 to 10 years younger. My concern is I don't know. I don't think he can get open. Can he catch? Can he turn?
I don't think they're going to ask him. The more I think about it, I don't think they're going to ask him to line up attached to the tackle with his hand on the ground. I think he'll always be off the ball, moving in motion and things like that.
But he runs about a 4.8 40.
Right.
Can he get away from anybody? Can he get separation?
We don't know. We'll find out. They'll find out in training camp and things of that nature. But I would be shocked, though, if he ever lined up with his hand on the ground as a attached.
And, Coach, you mentioned that, too, Coach. I remember last week I said, Coach Spurrier, can he go in a three-point stance? And you said, gosh, a lot of them don't go in three-point. Even linemen don't go in three-point. Right, Coach? You told me that last week.
I was flipping around last night, and they had Belichick talking about Gronkowski and how Gronk really didn't do much in college. He was just a big guy that had good hands and all that, and then went on to be maybe the best tight end in the history of pro football. Now, can Tim Tebow catch the ball and do the things Gronk did? That's what we got to find out, I guess.
Shane, changing subjects, last week, I think it was last week, I took this as a really good sign for not only conference expansion and conference realignment, but college football expansion as well. The new Pac-12 commissioner came in last week. Kliakoff, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, George Kliakoff. And he made, in his introductory press conference, he made several statements. He part of his press conference, not really prodded to say it, he said, and we're also going to start looking at Pac-12 expansion. That excites the hell out of me. I like this guy. My theory is, Shane, I've forever said the last 7 or 8 years, we're coming up on one more, I call it one more big bang in college athletics, where conferences are going to expand and shift and move. So it'll be one more big one. I don't think any of the Power 5 conferences are going to do something alone. I don't see the Pac-12 adding 4 and nobody else doing anything for 4, 5, 6 years. I think we're at the precipice now. I love the comments that the Pac-12 commissioner says they're going to look to expand their conference. I think that's just going to kind of push everything to the super conferences, which I think is where it's going.
Which I don't have a problem with these super conferences in other sports, but I don't know how you're going to do it in football when you think about it. Right now we got 14. We don't even play half the teams for 20-something years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you add 2 or 4 more.
The prevailing thought has been that college football is at some point in the near future going to get down to about the Big 65. If you take the Power 5 and Notre Dame, if you add up that's 65, 66. The prevailing thought is it might go 4 16-team super conferences, something like that is the prevailing. And I think, Coach, I think we're going to see that sooner than later. We're going to see that, and it's going to push us into an expanded playoff. I love the guys' comments. I love the proactiveness. I think it's going to help. I think we're going to look back 4 or 5 years ago and go, I'm glad that Pac-12 guy got in there, and that was one of his first agendas to expand.
Brigham Young's definitely
I
think the best team to add out there. I don't know who the other would be if they just went 2 at a time. But, I tell you what, the money is so different between the Power 5 conference schools and the other ones. I mean, they're all begging to try to join one of the big Power 5 conferences,
The word is now that the Pac-12 is going to, here's what it's looking like. And, Coach, you mentioned some names of schools, BYU, Pac-12, Nevada, UNLV, and I'll get back to them. Now, UNLV is going to marry up now. It's apparent now. The Pac-12 is going to headquarter everything, conference championship games, headquarters in Las Vegas. That stigma of Las Vegas is gone now, the NFL. So Pac-12 married to Las Vegas. Great move if you ask me. SEC, of course, is married to Atlanta. ACC, Charlotte. Big 10, Indianapolis. Big 12, Dallas. That's going to be kind of how it is. This guy, I love his ideas. I love it. But they're going to marry up, and there's talk, BYU, you've got the Sunday issue. Nevada, UNLV will be in that, and I can't remember one more, but there's 4 or 5 other ones. But this is going to help, Shane. I'm telling you, I see the wheels turning in your head. This is going to help the ultimate expansion of the big conferences, because no disrespect, right now there are 130 Division I college football programs. No disrespect to Southern Miss and East Carolina. Those guys have no business at the table
with
the big boys.
Let them have their own
It's
little
time to
national
peel off.
championship. But I just have a hard time seeing how college football, when you're only playing 12 regular season games, and you're talking, 16 teams in one conference, and we're already got people complaining now about the schedule, how like Coach said, when's the last time Alabama came to the Swamp? What year was it?
Gotcha. I hear you.
So I just don't know how it's possible in football.
You know why it'll happen? This makes things find an answer. You find it. Anyway, I love the Pac-12's new commissioner with his proactive. Let's get off football for a moment, because I know you guys want to talk, and I got one guy I want to talk about. PGA. I know you guys love golf. I want to talk about real quick. What'd you see round 1? And I got something to throw in a minute.
Well, the guy
hell of a course, by the way.
Yeah, that guy that's leading, Corey Connors.
Yeah.
Corey Connors. Oh, man, he's good. He's a good player.
Yeah.
And of course, they're all really good players.
Kiowa, have y'all played that course, Kiowa?
I'm sure Coach has.
I played it, I guess, a couple of times. I think I shot 83, Shane, which was low man in the group I was playing with that day. So sometimes it's always relative.
Real tough course, Coach?
We didn't play it all the way back.
Okay,
and the wind was not howling that day, so it wasn't extremely difficult. They can't set it up too difficult for the average guys to play.
Yeah.
So, but it's a beautiful setting there, right on the ocean.
The overhead shot of that course, right, is unbelievable. It's that marsh area, the way they've carved that course in that the little island marsh. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
I'm trying to look here. Corey Connors is not leading it now, and I don't know if he's teed off yet or not.
I got you.
But the leader is Brendan Grace.
Okay.
And he's 5 under right now.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, he's South African.
Okay, South African.
Connors must have bogeyed then. He was 5 yesterday.
Well, he's nowhere even. Yeah. He's not even under par. I can't find him. I'm going to look for that.
Michael on the Facebook Live threw in, he said Boise State is another school that's been in the mix of the talk for the Pac-12. Boise State, UNLV. What'd you say?
Corey Connors is 5 over on the day, coach, through 13 holes.
He had his one day of fame.
Yeah, he did. Okay. Did you watch a lot of golf yesterday?
I did.
You watched? What was some of your takeaways? Koepka surprised some people?
Oh, yeah, I don't think Koepka ever surprised in the majors because, you know,
I mean, come back from injury and all.
Yeah, I know some people that know him real well, and they say they are blown away by his talent because he never practices.
That's not because of injury, or he's just...
No, he just never has.
That's
it's
not
his
mindset.
And when you think about it, I think he only prepares himself mentally and maybe physically for majors. Because he goes and plays in the Byron Nelson or whatever, he's never in contention. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to go play, I'll probably cash a check, but I'm really not, I don't want to say he's not trying to win, but he just has a different mindset for majors. Wow. It's crazy.
What he's won, is it 4 majors?
I think so.
4 or 5.
4, and maybe only 3 or 4 other events.
Yeah.
And so, he obviously tries to pinpoint the majors. So forth.
Some guys are saying that. He's a guy, I heard some radio guys saying they expect Koepka to, every 2 years, 2 to 3 years, add one more major. He's going to win another 4 or 5. He's going to walk out there with 10 or 11. And that is a big time career. I mean, that's big time. 10 damn majors. I watched very little PGA yesterday. I was in and out and watched some. But I got on the computer, was kind of looking at the leaderboard, and I wanted to bring this up. And, Coach, you said you shot 83. You would have beaten John Daly yesterday. Did you hear about Daly's round?
There's no telling.
And obviously he's a ceremonial golfer now. He gets his exemption because he's a winner.
Past winner.
And he's a ceremonial golfer. But I was just going through it. I like to do the leaderboard. And I get to the bottom. And Daly wasn't dead A last, but he was a 13 over 85. Okay?
It's not all bad.
Here's his round, though.
Yeah.
Here's his round. 13 over 85 for the day, John Daly. He birdied his first hole.
Well, Koepka doubled his first hole.
So, Coach, he gets out. John Daly has 1 birdie, not in a row. This is his round. 1 birdie, 5 bogeys, 3 doubles, 1 triple, and 8 pars. He shot 85, 13 over, and he birdied his first hole.
Did they allow him a golf cart? Do you know?
I don't think they
know.
do. You know, there's
something about if you have an injury or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I wanted to mention Sam Horsfield, who's a Gator, was tied for second starting the day, but he's 4 over on the day at 1 over for the tournament. But he's
Billy Horschel, you talking about?
No, Sam Horsfield.
Horsfield played here too.
Yeah, he's an Englishman,
Okay.
but it's like he graduated maybe 2 years ago. Good player.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can guarantee you that 85 that John Daly carded, I bet there was some fun had, though.
Well, he
Don't you think?
probably wasn't the worst.
No, he wasn't. There was 2 or 3 guys below him, but I bet he had fun doing that. He had fun doing that. But Coach, I don't know. I don't know if just swilling beer is a handicap enough to give him a golf cart.
Well, he's past winter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what.
No, but I mean, I don't know if he gets a golf cart.
Yeah, I don't know if they did or not. I remember the player that had the bad leg.
Casey Martin.
Casey
Remember how
Martin,
bad that was? That was a nasty, ugly
yeah.
PR situation for the
Here's
tour.
another former winner, Sean McKeel. Remember him? He shot 86 yesterday.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! So there you have it. Coach, before we get you out of here, I don't know if you guys watch this, and Coach, I know we're going to get you out here at the bottom of the hour. We hope to visit with who I think is the best college baseball analyst going, Kyle Peterson from ESPN. He was actually on the call last night, Florida, Arkansas. Did you guys see, and I know it's FSU talk, but what a heartbreaker for FSU soccer Monday night. Did you see and hear how that played out? FSU women, they're playing for the national championship. They're the #1 seed, and they're playing Santa Clara, who had upset North Carolina. North Carolina's a big power in the ACC as well. Santa Clara is like the 11th seed. These girls, I happened to just kind of watch it. I'm not big soccer, but they played, and it was 1-1 at the end of regulation. So they go to these 2, if you need it, 2 10-minute sudden death. Well, they played 10 minutes, nobody scored. Went to the second 10 minutes, nobody scored. Then it's penalty kicks. 5 versus 5. And FSU's girls, right out of the gate, hit the right post twice and missed. So they lose on penalty kicks to and God bless the internet. No sooner had the first one gone wide right, the internet is just unloading on FSU. losing a championship wide right, but what a tough way to lose penalty kicks. I don't know how else they can end it, though. They played 2 more 10 minutes and nobody scored, so you got to end it at some point. It's a tough call, Coach.
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Oof.
I think Marshall won the men's soccer.
Yes, they did.
And also in overtime.
Did it go overtime? Yes, they did.
Both of them went overtime, I remember hearing. Yeah, that was a tough loss for the ladies at FSU because they were the best team in the country.
And they've won it twice. They've won a national title twice. That would have been their third. And I don't know a lot about soccer, and I ended up watching a lot. It was just on in the evening, and I was watching it. You know how you watch a game? FSU was better than Santa Clara.
Oh, yeah.
But Santa Clara won. They won. They when it counted.
So it happened.
They nailed it. I'll get you out of here on this, Coach. I don't know if you watched any baseball last night. Boy, Arkansas's good. Arkansas ends up winning 6-1 over Florida. We'll talk on about that in a minute with Kyle Peterson. But, boy, Arkansas swings the bats. They swing it.
I think they're going to win the regular season, Arkansas.
Looks
if they
like
win today, they've already tied for
Looks
it.
like
I
it.
think I heard. But tournament will be coming around and real soon, and we'll see how everybody ends up.
They're tough.
Yeah.
They are real tough. Shane, we'll keep you around, Coach. I'm going to go ahead and go to break, and thank you for your time. I know you're going to get on about getting a restaurant open. We are closing in on that sucker. It's getting there real soon. Anything we need to know about the restaurant, or just rocking and rolling, still hiring?
We're like everybody all over the country trying to look for people that want to work. Hiring people is an objective right now. But we plan to open mid-July, looks like now. We'll have everything in place. But we're having events there.
Yeah,
like
private events.
I was there up at the Visors Lounge and so forth. The Chamber of Commerce in town was there. So we took a few pictures and talked a little bit restaurant, a little bit about 1990, Shane. We always bring back my first year here. I told them the first event I ever did, Terry, we're having recruiting, and we got 8 or 10 guys in. We were under investigation when I got here. And everybody was talking about what a messed up place Florida is. I remember I tried to recruit a kid down in Sarasota, and he'd already committed to FSU. And I said, why don't you just come look at our place and see what we got to offer. I don't want to get messed up with all those problems up there in Florida, Coach. I said, what problems? Well, we just hear there's a lot of problems. But anyway, we went on and on about this, that, and the other. But I went downtown. They had Chamber of Commerce meeting at the Hilton Hotel. And Jamie Spronis drove me over. And I went and talked, got back in, and went to the recruiting meeting. So that was my first event as the Florida coach, talking to him. And I said things got better 2 years after that, though. We won the SEC my first and second year with Shane, the MVP. And after the second year, Danny Warfel and his guys came in. We had the #1 recruiting class in the country. So we went from all that mess at Florida to the #1 recruiting class.
Couldn't get the guy to...
Because we won the first 2 years with Shane and these guys.
Absolutely.
That's how you turn it around, I guess.
And by the way, SpurriersGridironGrill.com. You hit contact. You'll see the hiring page. You can click on any job you're interested in, and you can apply right there on the website, SpurriersGridironGrill.com. Coach, get out of here. Have a good weekend.
Right.
Thanks for your time. And we'll stay here. We'll talk to our wonderful sponsors, come back and talk some college baseball. We hope to have Kyle Peterson from ESPN. That on the other side.
The good vibes. What? All the good vibes we had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Let me take a moment to thank some of the wonderful sponsors that make college sports today with the head ball coach Steve Spurrier, Shane Matthews, and Terry Norvell possible. The official seafood restaurants of the show are Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach and their sister restaurants, Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant of Mayport and the new Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant location in Crescent Beach. The next time you crave the best seafood, the freshest seafood on the Northeast Florida coast, make sure you visit Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant in Mayport, Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach, and Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant in Crescent Beach, the official seafood restaurant of College Sports Today. All-American Roll-Off and Recycling, serving your construction job and demolition project needs among their many other services. All-American Roll-Off and Recycling is ready to work with you on your next project anywhere throughout the Northeast Florida and surrounding areas. Visit their website, all-americanrolloff.com, or call them at 904-503-1410. Campus USA Credit Union. Find out what over 100,000 members already know. Visit a Campus USA Credit Union today and find out how they can work for you financially. If you would like to advertise your business right here on College Sports Today with Coach Spurrier, Shane Matthews, and me, Terry Norvell, then simply drop me an email at tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com, and I'll be sure to make that happen. Thanks again to our great show sponsors. Now let's get back to more College Sports Today.
Back we are here on a Friday edition, College Sports Today. Coach Spurrier has taken off. He's got about a million irons in the fire, so we shoved him off here halfway through the show. Shane Matthews, Terry Norvell, and you. We also have via audio, as promoted during the show and all week. We're going to talk a lot of college baseball right now with an analyst I think is the best in the business. You know him from ESPN. Kyle Peterson joins us. Kyle, how you doing, my friend?
Gentlemen, happy Friday. How are we?
We are doing good. Shane, you doing okay?
Doing all right.
Shane's doing okay. Kyle, you were on the call last night in Fayetteville. Dave Neal, Kyle Peterson on the call. Arkansas, Shane, I know you saw some of it, but Kyle, Arkansas, I mean, they've been ranked number one the majority of the season. They showed it last night. That is a good baseball team that beat Florida last night.
They're good. They're deep. I mean, they've got the best bullpen arm in the country, and he just changes the series, and he did it again last night. I mean, when Cops comes in the game, and he doesn't always come in just because they're ahead. I mean, if it's tied or if they're down one and they like the situation, they'll bring him in. But he's a game changer, and for me, he's the pitcher of the year in the league just because of the impact that he's had. But it gives that offense more time, because if you give their offense enough time, they're going to hurt you one way or another, and they did it again last night.
Kyle, when you look at the Florida baseball team, is there any way possible, in your opinion, that they can get a top 8 national seed?
Yeah, I mean, you win the next two, and you go win 2 or 3 in Hoover, and I think it's a lock, honestly. I think there's going to be 4 out of the league, just the way that it looks around the country, because there's nobody else that's making. I mean, somebody's going to get one out of the Big 12. I think somebody's going to get one out of the Pac. I don't think anybody's going to get one. Well, Notre Dame's going to get one probably out of the ACC, and so you got 5 left in the country.
Yeah.
And the way that the season has gone in the SEC, I think they deserve 4 of them. Florida wins a series this weekend, which is a tall task, especially when you lose the first one against a team that hadn't lost a series the entire year. You're squarely in that discussion.
I thought last night one of the turning points was that what a weird inning. You had Mace go out. He gave up, it might have been the third, he gives up a leadoff double. At one point, Arkansas loads the bases. Mace ends up throwing 29 pitches, yet they don't score. He gets out of the inning, Kyle. So the momentum, Florida was already leading 1-0, I guess, at the time. Momentum for the Gators. But, Kyle, you called the game. You know what happened next. Florida's offensive half inning lasted 8 pitches. I think Mace was on the bench for about 3.5 minutes, and he's right back on the mound, hits the first batter, and you could feel momentum swing. That was amazing. 29 pitches, no runs scored, 8 pitches. Mace, I don't even know if Mace got to wipe his face with a towel. He was right back on the mound.
Yeah, and he was pretty good last night, too. I mean, he was, to hold that offense down, I think and Dave Neal said it in the third inning, because I believe he walked 2 in that inning, too, to load him.
Sure.
Is even though Arkansas didn't score, they stressed him and they pushed that pitch count up.
Yes.
And that's, when you're doing that the first game of a series, it affects the balance of the series, because you got to go to the bullpen earlier, and it doesn't allow Mace to go deep into the game, because the stuff was good enough for him to pitch 6 or 7. I thought their offensive approach was really, really good against him, though, and it was enough to get him out of the game. And at that point, you just want to see a different arm. It doesn't matter who it is. And then with the way that offense swings it, man. I mean, a hanging slider changes it. 6-1's a hell of a lot different than 3-1 when you're looking at Cops coming out there and the freshman hits 2 home runs and it changes the game.
Kyle, when you look at Judd Fabian, give me your thoughts on him as a player, kind of ranking him and as a center fielder that you've seen in the last 5-10 years in the SEC.
Well, he's an elite defender, man. I mean, he can really defend. He can really go get it. The feet work. Obviously, the power. The power is surprising just when you look at the. I mean, he's put together. Don't get me wrong, but if he walked into a room, I'm not sure if he'd be the first guy he'd picked at 20 home runs and almost lead the country in it. I think if you're a scout right now, the concern is the ability to handle the fastball, honestly, and that's what really got exposed last night. Is if you go look at the pitch chart, Wicklander may have thrown him off speed early, but then it was fastball heavy, fastball heavy, fastball heavy, and he just wasn't able to handle it. And that's probably going to be the book on him. And if he can start handling the fastball, and you force the other side to change approach, because he's going to run into him, and when he runs into it, it's going to go a long way. But the challenge with Fabian this year has just been there's been a lot of swing and miss, and that was the case last night.
Talking college baseball with Kyle Peterson from ESPN. Staying with Florida for a moment, and Kyle, you mentioned the 3-run homer put the game away, but I mean, if you think about it, it might have been a struggle, but Mace kept Florida around. It was 3-1, and Florida was in the ball game. But boy, I know Hickey he had a good at bat and got a single. He's in a deep, nasty slump. Florida's going to have trouble matching the Arkansas bats if on any game in this series if Hickey and Fabian aren't producing.
Yeah, I mean, you love the signs that Kalilao's had. There's a saying in pro ball that you get AA, AAA, like the guy's just a professional hitter. Like he'll take it the other way. He'll spin on a breaking ball. Kalilao was that guy for me. He's never. It always feels like he's going to be in every at bat, and I like where they've got him in that lineup. And that lineup can lengthen. I mean, Rivera can run into some, but you're right. I mean, you're going to have to lean on Hickey, and you're going to have to lean on Fabian because Armstrong's going to run into some. He can hit it further than anybody, maybe in the country when he gets
in the world, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of next level strength, but they punched out 16 times, and I think that's if you're going to punch out 16 times, you're going to have to run a few balls out of the ballpark. That's the major league model right now, right? There's so much more swing and miss, but more balls that are running out of the ballpark. And last night, Arkansas just ran into a few.
I can't. You brought up Major League, and this is for another discussion. I can't watch Major League. I'm an old college baseball guy myself. I can't watch MLB. I don't even recognize the game that's on the field. But boy, you talked about the relief pitcher Cops for boy. He's so good. He does it differently, but he reminds me a little bit of a couple years ago, Michael Byrne. If Florida got out of the 8th inning, game was over. Byrne was going to burn the 9th and maybe give you the 8th. But this Cops guy. You guys had a great stat. He'll come in a game in the 7th, maybe even in the 6th. He was leading the team in innings pitched up until about a week ago. I thought that was a phenomenal stat you guys threw out with regard to Arkansas baseball last night and their pitching staff.
He was leading the team in innings pitched going into last night.
Yeah, crazy. Last night. Wow.
Going into last night, and he doesn't have a start the whole year. But what's interesting, I was talking to Matt Hobbs, our pitching coach, this morning, is the approach with Cops is he's like, listen, I understand he doesn't start, but we look at him as a starter as far as total number of innings that we're going to get over the course of a weekend. And you just have to figure out where you're going to use him, and it's really simple. If we got a chance, game 1 of a series, he's going to be in the ballgame in the 7th inning. And then he's probably not going to pitch the next day. So I think you'll see him piggyback starters today to try to get innings.
Yeah.
And then you got him live to go. I mean, last weekend against Tennessee, he went 3 in the opener. He went 3 2/3 on the back end in game 3. They won game 1. They won game 3. And if you just go look at the effect that he's had in the games that he's been in this year, so even though he's not a starter by start the game, when you look at overall innings over the course of the weekend, a lot of weekends he's going to lead them.
Kyle, looking at the league, do you think this is the best year of SEC baseball since you've been working at ESPN and covering the league? Is this from top to bottom the best you've ever seen?
I feel like I've said yes to that question the last 10 years in a row.
Yeah.
And it's so across the board. We had, I don't even remember who it was now, but I had Major League Opening Day this year, and we had a stat that showed on opening day rosters, the number of players from the power conferences that are in the big leagues. And if I remember the number right, I believe the SEC had more than 2 and 3 combined. And so it's no different than football. I mean, you've seen that for the last 30 years. You're a part of it. There's more dudes, and it's just the way it is. There's more high-level players in the league than there are in other leagues, and when you get that, you're going to get the best teams in the country. I don't know, what are they, 1, 2, 3, and 5, or whatever in the rankings? Yes. I don't know what they are, but when you're discussing the potential of having 4 national seeds out of 8 from one conference, that's a pretty loud statement.
Yeah, and you being a Pac-12 guy from Stanford, and I guess the last couple of national titles out there came from Oregon State. I could be wrong, but are you surprised that the West Coast, you would think they would be a lot better across the board in baseball? What's the Pac-12 got to do to try to catch up to the SEC?
Well, I mean, I'd be surprised if you don't see one of those teams in Omaha this year, and you may see 2 or 3. It's not as deep. It's definitely not as deep, but it's pretty good. I mean, UCLA won it 10 years ago or whatever it was. Oregon State's won it 3 times in the last 15 years. Arizona played in the national championship series. The one team that hadn't been there is Stanford. And this is 25 years ago, but in the midst of it, you had Stanford. SC was good every year. UCLA was good every year. Arizona State was good every year. And A-State hasn't been to Omaha in a while. SC has not been relevant, honestly, in the national stage in upwards of a decade. And those are 2, when you just look at history of college baseball in the last 50, 60 years, those are 2 of the most, it's 2 of the top 10 programs in the last 50 years of college baseball. So when you lose them, man, that's a big effect. The cool story this year is Oregon, truth be told, Oregon has a baseball program because Oregon State won 2 national titles, and that's it, because they didn't have one at that point. And I think you look inward and go, hold it, we probably better do something here. They start the program back up, and now Oregon's got a chance to be a top 8 national seed themselves. And I think it's good for our game if you see programs like that have a chance.
Yeah, Kyle, I don't know if you heard, Shane just kind of looked at me and said, I didn't know that about Oregon. I have, honesty compels me. Early in the year, I did a double take at the top 25. I went, Oregon? Is that Oregon? No, that's Oregon. And as a matter of fact, the top 10 I saw earlier this week, Oregon and Arizona had popped up into it, and that was good for the Pac-12. They need to be in there. Kyle, a couple more thoughts with Kyle Peterson, the best in the business when it comes to college baseball analysis. You see him all the time, all season long on ESPN. It's just a scheduling quirk, and I think it will work itself out probably in Omaha. But what a shame that Vanderbilt and Arkansas just were not scheduled to play in the 30-game SEC regular season. It just kind of worked out that way. I can't wait to see them play.
Yeah, it's funny. I think fans would say that. I'm not sure if the coaches would say the same thing. I think they're probably okay missing each other this year, but you're right. If it ends up in Omaha, it'd be good. I think Hoover's going to be interesting, too, because I think you got a really good chance of Arkansas going to Hoover with honestly nothing to gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aside, to win a conference tournament, but the reality is to get through Hoover, you got to stress a pitching staff. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to win a national championship and you've already got a top 8 locked up when you go to Hoover, I think your approach is very, very different than those that are still playing for a seed. So I don't know that we're going to get that traditional ones against ones matchup, even if those 2 meet in Hoover. But if they meet again, it would be in Omaha undoubtedly. That'll be a pretty good show.
It's a shame the way, and I can respect the skippers, the managers, and all these teams, particularly if you're a perennial top 6 or 7 team all year in the rankings. But using Hoover for an example, Hoover really behooves, no pun intended, the 5 through 12 seed much more than the 1 through 4 seed. Those are the Georgias need to go grab 3 wins, and the LSUs need to grab it. It's just played that way out, and I hate it. Kyle, you've seen baseball all over the country this year. You follow it. It's what you do. For my money, the guy that I've seen at all the games I've watched this year that is must-see TV, don't go to the bathroom, don't go get a soda, is a freshman that plays center field at Vanderbilt. My God, Bradfield. How fun is Bradfield? That guy is 5'2". He's young. He's going to gain weight. I mean, he is must-see on offense and on defense.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. I mean, he's got 41 stolen bases. I don't know if he stole any last night, but he had 41 going into the night, which is more than either Arkansas or Florida have as a team. And he's a true freshman. He's got 1 home run, but he affects the game as much as any player in the entire country because he's a similar defender to Fabian in center field. He can really run, but the jumps are outstanding. And then when he gets on the base pass, everybody knows where he's at because the kid is on his own, which is so rare for a freshman to be. And if he gets the spot, he's going to go, and they just don't throw him out. I mean, I think he's 41 of 44 or 41 of 45. And I remember the feeling when you're standing on the mound and you get a guy standing on base that you don't know when he's going to go, but you know he's going to go at some point, you speed up. And when you speed up, a lot of times the stuff is different. And it's not just that he's stealing bags. It's that he's affecting the stuff that the hitters are seeing because it affects the entire lineup when he's on base.
And Shane, I don't know if you've seen him much. I know he came through Gainesville. And Kyle, watching him as a base runner, he's not some base stealers are just raw speed and they just outrun the baseball. He's got raw speed. He knows how to steal bases. He knows how to run the bases. He is a lot of fun. Kyle, I know we could do this forever. I'm an old baseball guy myself. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy. So you wrap up the next 2 in Fayetteville. You're calling those games. And then you said last night, and I think a moment ago, you and Dave Neal will be in the stadium in Hoover, right?
Yeah, we were joking about it. I mean, I feel like a 10-year-old kid going to Disneyland for the first time. I mean, I haven't called a game in person in 21 months.
Wow.
And that's always a cool environment for us to get to. But, yeah, me, Neil, Walker, DeLucci, Ben McDonald, Berkey, Tommy Hart, Dari, Peter Burns, we'll all be down there. And it is far past due, man. I cannot wait just to get back in the environment and see people that we just haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we got to do this Zoom thing and whatever. It's allowed us to really get through all this, but I got to be honest with you. If I never see Zoom again here in a few months, I'd be just fine with it.
Kyle, I got one last thing for you.
Sitting in a ballpark.
One last thing. Speaking of environment and calling a game, where's your favorite place to call a game in the SEC?
I'm gonna give you like 4. I don't know
Come on, Kyle.
Well, I know where my favorite place to go watch a game is Dudy Noble.
Yeah, that's there. I mean, Dudy Noble. We did a game from the left field loft 2 years ago, from the porch of one of those lofts, and it was as cool an environment. I love Ole Miss. I love Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas, they're great baseball fans. Arkansas is a great environment. See, we haven't been to the new Florida ballpark yet.
Yeah.
I've done, I mean, theoretically done games. The games have been there, but haven't been in that environment. Bluebell, when A&M's good, can really rock. Alex Box is the one that started it. Columbia's a great environment. Hell, Lindsey Nelson right now. Tennessee's got an unbelievable baseball environment, and that hasn't been that way in 25 years in Knoxville. So it's fortunate to call games in this league, I'll tell you that, because it is without a doubt the best environments in the country.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that damn and, being good helps. Tennessee's been good the last couple of years. My God, that's a home field advantage. Those fans, those students in Knoxville get on it now, and it is great. It is wonderful. Yeah. Kyle, thank you. I know you're probably busy doing this a lot today. You're at the big series, Florida and Arkansas. Have a good call tonight, the rest of the season, and keep up the good work. Thanks for your time.
Guys, I enjoyed it. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much. That is Kyle Peterson. I think the absolute best going. He was a star All-American pitcher at Stanford, multiple trips to the College World Series under the great Mark Marquis. You remember him? Stanford could have had a office in Omaha. And Peterson was a first-round draft pick of Milwaukee and made the show for a couple of years. Had some arm trouble, but I think he's really
very good.
Really, really good. Florida's struggling now. I mean, what the Gators, I don't want to be Chicken Little, what the Gators have to fight off. Remember, they lost the final game in the Georgia series. They just lost to Arkansas. You don't want to look around, get done Saturday, and be on a 4-game losing streak and then go stink it up at Hoover. Florida's going to get a regional probably in Gainesville. You don't want to host a regional with 3 other hungry teams coming in sitting on a 5 or 6 game losing streak right now.
No doubt.
No doubt at all. And, boy, Arkansas is good. The teams I've seen, Vanderbilt and Arkansas, are the best two I've seen.
I agree.
I'm not saying, it's hard to win a championship, but they're the two best that I have seen. That'll just about wrap it up. Good show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of college baseball talk. We appreciate Coach Spurrier, as always, stopping in for the first half hour or so. Shane, what do you got here? You got watch a lot of golf over the weekend.
Golf, softball.
Softball here in Gainesville, because the softball regionals have started. They're a week ahead.
Yeah.
Right? They're a couple weeks ahead, right? And Florida, the 4 seed. What is it? Oklahoma has only lost like 2 games, I think. Oklahoma's 1 in softball. UCLA 2.
Alabama 3.
Bama 3. Florida 4. Now, not to take anything away from Alabama, they won the SEC softball championship the other day by beating Florida. That series they played 4 times this year. Do you know the quirk of that series? It's 2-2. All 4 games have been played in Tuscaloosa.
That's true.
They're all played in Tuscaloosa, so I'd love to see Florida and Alabama get together. And they're the heavyweights. I have this as a topic. We won't have time to get into it deep. Think about, and you're a big SEC guy, obviously. Think about the SEC, all sports, last 5-10 years. If you had to say what's the dominant and longevity head-to-head matchup, any sport going, what would anything come to mind? I think you would go straight to Alabama-Florida softball the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah. No question.
The football was Alabama-LSU, but it only lasted 3 or 4 years. Alabama-Florida softball, it's been a war for 10 years, and they're winning national titles and SEC titles and the like. That'll wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Shane, have a great weekend. We thank Evan Miller, of course, for producing. We'll get back together on Monday, 11 a.m. for the next edition of College Sports Today. Have a great weekend, everybody.